Hi, I'm here today with Deb Carroll, who is our scholarship person from the Foundation for Eden Prairie Schools. And I'm going to start by asking Deb to tell us a little bit about what she does related to scholarships. We're here to tell you about how to best prepare your scholarship application for the multi-scholarship. So if you could tell us.
I'll take it away.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm Deb Carroll. I'm the Foundation for Eden Prairie Schools chair for scholarships. I've been doing it. I've been on the scholarship committee since its inception, and I believe in this. I think it's an amazing thing. So I am in charge of all of the scholarships that come through. I have a committee of 6 to 8 folks who are on it with me, and each year we go through all of the scholarships and sift out who are sort of the folks who are worthy that particular year of that award. And I must say, just as an aside, everyone's worthy. Everybody that we read, those scholarships are amazing, and we are always so touched and find it so meaningful to read your scholarship applications. So really do take it seriously, because it really does make a difference. And as another side, I actually am a graduate of Eden Prairie High School, as is my son and my husband. And we, obviously at different times, and we really believe in Eden Prairie schools. We think that you get a great education here. We think that there are amazing students. And what we're trying to do is empower our students and equip them so that they can do their best and go to the schools that they hope to attend. And we get hundreds and hundreds of really valuable, amazing candidates. And so part of this today is to help you distinguish yourself and how to complete the application in such a way that it gets our attention and that we ultimately would select you.
So a few things to know about the Foundation for Eden Prairie Schools. The multi-scholarship application is something I think we're going to be now in our third year doing it, and the Foundation for Eden Prairie Schools is the biggest participant in that. They provide the most and the largest scholarships through that multi-scholarship applications. That's one of the reasons why it's really valuable to have Deb here, because you're getting it straight from the horse's mouth. Sorry. You're getting it straight, you're getting it directly from the folks who are making the decisions about your scholarship application. And I think one thing to keep in mind is what she said, is that these folks want you to be successful at this. Mm-hmm. They want to give you the money. And so those of you who have taken the time to be here today and to watch this and to think about it, I think are going to have a great advantage in the process. So Deb, can you tell us what are some of the best things? What are the things that really make a difference in the scholarship application?
Well, first of all, I'd say make sure you go to the website. Go to the Foundation for Eden Prairie Schools website, that for our particular scholarships anyway, because they're very informative and help you to understand what each category is for each scholarship. Get the information and then complete it. So I guess the biggest thing I would say is do everything it asks you to do on the application. I mean, I've been doing this for almost 16 years now, since we started, and it has become a much more streamlined process. Thanks to Beth, in part. She started the multi-scholarship app fund or application online. Was it 3 years ago, you said?
Yeah.
That has made such a difference, because it also makes it far more accessible for all students, where before it was only if you happened to come in the CRC and you happened to see it. So first of all, just kudos, thanks. And but along with that is we're doing that is to make sure that everybody has the same information, everybody's given an equal shot. You need to make sure you fill out every single thing. That includes parents' phone numbers, all the identifying information. And the reason is, if you happen to get this scholarship, we'd like to notify people, and lots of times folks leave all that information off. So even something as basic as that. Then there are very important questions about yourself. And the bottom line is this: we don't know who you are unless you tell us. We don't know what motivates you. We don't know your heart. We don't know your soul unless you reveal it. And so I would encourage you to make sure to share who you are and what you see as your strengths and what you see as something that's important to you. We are really looking for honest answers and evaluations, and there's no one right answer. I would say that what makes it right is if it comes from you, and you know yourself and you know what motivates you. And if I'm not sure, they've redone the website, so I'm not sure if the past winners, or excuse me, the recipients are still there, but if so, you could read their little bios. They usually have their bios on each student. These students, like you, who are here, are all very accomplished. They've usually been very involved in the community, in the school, perhaps in their church, and we want to know that. So don't be shy. Tell us who you are and let us know. Particularly, we're looking for those who are leaders and who have leadership experience. It may be something that you don't think is important, that maybe it's that you worked with your youth group and you're the president of the youth group. Include it. If you're captain of any teams here at Eden Prairie High School, make sure you include it. If you have been a liaison for the city, perhaps, and you were on a city council position, include that. That's student leadership. We look for student leadership. We also look for heart. We look for what motivates you. What's your passion? And these some of these scholarships are very substantive and are $37.50 per year for 4 years. Some of them have been $4,000 a year for 4 years. Read the fine print. There are qualifications. You must maintain a 3.0 for each year, and there are certain requirements for each of the various scholarships. For example, one is for health sciences, one is for business, and one is for computer science engineering. And so make sure you know what your various scholarship is and what the requirements are. Please go to the website, fill yourself in on the information. So did that answer the question?
Yeah, I think that's great. One of the things that you made me think of is something we discovered after the first year, and that is, so first of all, this is a survey in Naviance, but don't be misdirected by the word survey. This is an application. It says survey, that's where it has to live in Naviance because that's how we have to do it. But it's not a survey. It's an application. You should treat it as an application. You should spend a lot of time on it. Take your time. It's worth potentially a lot of money to you. So do that. One of the other complications, because it is a survey in Naviance, is that when you type in the boxes, which I always recommend to students, don't type anything into boxes, anything of any amount into a box. If you're writing, if you're answering a question that's like an essay, type it in a Word document and copy and paste it in.
Yeah.
But one thing really important to know is that survey does not format. We learned that after the first year. So people tried to make lists or they tried to use bullets. None of that translates. So instead we've got these 10 boxes where you can write a paragraph describing each of your activities. Use that paragraph. Use the space provided. Give us full descriptions of your activities. Tell us what you've done. Don't be really careful about assuming that anyone knows what an acronym, what a set of initials means, that anyone has any idea what your role meant. Tell us, be really specific about exactly what you did in those positions. The more detailed information you can give, the more helpful it is for the committee. So, and really pay attention to the notion that unfortunately the system doesn't format. So you have to write it in a paragraph format, and that's why we have separate boxes for each of your activities, because you can't list them. You have to, each of those boxes is its own thing. Yep. There is this question.
I just interject
yeah,
something.
Go for it.
Along with that, please make sure you complete it as it is designed, and pay attention to the details. So some folks had tried to just throw in bullet points and think that would convince us. That convinces us of nothing. In fact, if anything, the committee feels that students haven't taken the time to invest, and we're giving away $4,000 a year. We want to know, we want to know you. So take the time to do it. Pay attention to the details. Make sure that it's legible. And yes, you're typing it, but make sure that your sentences fall together and that it's just kind of basic writing. But you would be amazed at how many folks just kind of throw something in and hope for the best. Hoping won't get you anywhere. Completing it properly will. So just as an aside, because there will be times when somebody will have just left everything blank. You know what we do with those? We set those aside. We have too many. We have hundreds of applications. So we read through every single one. But when it's being evaluated, if somebody didn't complete it, everybody just sets them to the side and say they didn't complete it. And so we're asking those questions for a reason. Every single one matters. Make sure you use punctuation. Make sure that One time we had somebody who didn't use any punctuation and they were just kind of these run-on sentences. Doesn't really work for us. I'm saying that because if you want to be in the running, don't do things that are going to get you out of the running. So
The simple things
just
can,
the
the simple
basics.
things can matter.
Yep.
Yep. When you sit in committee, and
Yes.
tell us about how the committees work, and note that while Foundation for Eden Prairie Schools offers a number of these, there are other scholarships: the Lions Club scholarship, the soccer association, the soccer club scholarships. Pay attention to each scholarship that you're applying to. You'll have a sheet that describes all of them. Circle them. Read carefully what they are looking for, and make sure you're giving that information in the format. Even though you're applying for multiple scholarships, make sure that you include for each of them somewhere in the application the stuff that they want. But for the foundation, since we have you here for the
Yes.
Foundation for Eden Prairie Schools, what are the things that stick out for you? What kinds of stories? I know there's a question in there that kind of tries to get at the student's heart, what they
Yes.
believe, what they care about.
What matters to you is the way it's been in the past. It may be modified this year, but essentially, yes. Thank you for asking that. I would say, let us know your heart and let us know your passion and what motivates you. So as we get these, and I would say that the format we utilize is probably pretty similar to what most of the other scholarships use. And I know many of the other peoples and chairs on the other committees. So we tend to have a similar approach. And the things that I just shared with you, I think could be general information that would be useful in all of yours. How now as it comes into our committee, I can describe how it is for FAPS. What we do is we take all of the applications and we read through every single one. And then we pretty much rate it on a scale of 0 to 10 based on the various criteria. And we're looking for leadership, have they answered it? There's a sort of a rubric that we utilize and also and some of it is subjective in terms of the what matters to you. We read that, and if it touches us, that matters, and so that makes a difference. Now, it doesn't mean that you had to, that you had to walk to school every day with potatoes in your hands because you live 4 hours away. And, it doesn't have to be that dramatic, but just tell us who you are. What matters to you? That's how we get the importance of who you are. And I will say that altruism does go a long way. That we like knowing people who like to give back. We look at leadership. So we look at leadership ability. We look at sort of the altruistic factor, for lack of a better phrase. We look at involvement in activities and also if you spent time in some of those activities. So if you have 4,800 activities but you really didn't do anything in any of them, that isn't necessarily a strength. The strength are those who kind of saw their passions, went for it, and that becomes something that we consider. And giving back to the community, the schools, your church, it doesn't have to be in the traditional sense where it's not a college application where you're having to, I got to make sure I do this. What we're looking for is you, genuine, authentic you. And that's the thing that Beth is saying. We don't know who that is unless you share it. And so, yes, it is a little time intensive, but if you ultimately get this scholarship, I tell you, it's worth it. And you can speak to any of our previous recipients as they would tell you. So I think that bottom line is, let us know who you are. Let us know about your leadership. Let us know about your altruistic endeavors. And then when you get to the question that asks about what matters to you, tell us what matters to you. Take a little time with that and think about it and answer it in an insightful, reflectful manner. Now, we have had some folks who have used sense of humor in there, who've been little self-deprecating. We've had folks that have approached it from various vantage points. All we really care is that it's congruent with who you are.
Yep. Another quick note, sort of a technical note, but the Foundation for Eden Prairie Schools requires some of their scholarships require letters of recommendation.
Yes.
So if you want to be eligible, you need to make sure that you take care of that, and there'll be instructions about exactly how to do that, but that's a really important component of this process. And so,
and let me reiterate, yes. Again, if something isn't completed on the form, we have now come to the point that if students don't include their recommendations, they don't they don't get considered for the scholarship. We will read through your scholarship, but then you won't, because we have to read through it to find out what you've included and not included. But if you don't include those very critical items, you're done. And transcripts and
Those
your,
get included
yeah.
automatically,
So
fortunately.
yeah. So the transcripts, I don't know, did it stop?
It's still,
So, so we look at those. Yes. So that was a good.
yeah.
Sorry, we're having little technical issues. So okay, there we go.
Okay. So is there anything that we've forgotten
I'm trying
that
to
we
think.
haven't talked about that you think is really important for them to know? I think the big takeaways here are take your time, read, learn about each of the scholarships you're applying for, and make sure that you give them the information that's relevant to that, and give them a bit of yourself. Be willing to kind of tear it open and put your heart out there a little bit in a really genuine way, and tell them who you are and what matters to you so that they can connect. They're human beings too, and part of, I think, what's fun for the committees about this is the opportunity to get to know how fabulous you are. And so, you know, it's not a very Minnesotan thing to do, but be willing to tell them how wonderful you are,
Yeah.
because I think they really genuinely want you to be successful, and they want to know that about you.
Yeah, inform us about you, and I think what you're saying, Beth, is really accurate. That we come away every year just absolutely gobsmacked at how amazing our students are. Never
Yeah.
surprised, because we know this, how amazing our Eden Prairie students are. So conscientious, so thoughtful, and so considerate, and such leaders. And so it is, I want you to also know how very, very hard it is. And
Yeah.
what we usually do is we get to our top 5, we get usually the top 10 for each of the various scholarships. So, and then we as a committee then come back and read them again, and then reevaluate them together. So we get together, we sit down at a table together, usually at my kitchen table, and we all sit down and we reread these, we go over them, we make the highlights, we assess it. So please do know that we care, and that we really want to see you succeed on this, and all of us believe so much in what we're doing, and that's why we do it. None of us gets paid. It's all voluntary, because we want to make sure that you have the chances for your education that you want, and that it can minimize your scholarship financial need, hopefully. And we have, it looks as though we're going to maybe have a couple more scholarships this year. This scholarship fund from FEPS has been growing every year with different folks offering scholarships. Last year we had the Ron Iverson Scholarship. Some of you may remember him from your years at Central Middle School. We have so many amazing scholarships, and we had the Sidney Gallagher scholarship that was new last year. So we have been touched by people's kindness, by their generosity, and we hope that we also communicate that to you as well. We really want to give back, and this is the group of folks that are on this committee are really kind-hearted people. And you know, and I did want to say, it's not like we're looking for an Oprah Winfrey moment on these What Matters to You. It doesn't have to be, you know, the back to, oh, it was awful, but just tell us who you are, and we really want to know. We really are interested. And even if you don't get the scholarship, I want to just take this moment and say thank you. Thank you for applying. Thank you for putting your heart and soul into it. It really does make a difference. And every time we come away, we just are absolutely amazed at how phenomenal you are. So it does make a difference, and we hope to see many of your names this year on our scholarship committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.